For generations, Pennsylvania steel and Pennsylvania coal made this state the center of the industrial world. The workers of Scranton and Bethlehem and Allentown and Wilkes-Barre were the backbone of American might. They really were the backbone of our country, the backbone of American strength and might. But the loyalty of our workers was repaid with betrayal. You were betrayed by our politicians. You were betrayed by the people that ran our country, but you're not betrayed anymore.
Today, if nothing is done, in 7 short years, Jack's pension will likely be cut by about 90%. 90%. That wave of bankruptcy has the potential to create an economic contagion effect. In other words, it would spread around our economy that would lead to additional pension plans collapsing and also serious impacts, of course, on the economy.
So, let's submit this to you. If we don't act on the suggestions that have been made, it's going to take down the PBGC. That is well known. Now, some satisfaction for those of you here today, I've laid out a plan. To my knowledge, it's the only plan that has been put forward so far. And that is that the federal government would backstop the risk on a loan guarantee. We've been able to secure a commitment from Manulife, a big life insurance company, owns Hancock in Boston, where Manulife with others would purchase the bonds that the United States Treasury Department would sell. I've spent a career working on retirement issues. And this is going to be a catastrophe if we don't straighten out the multi-employer pension plans.
I'm from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. I'm here at Columbus, Ohio in the State House. I'm here to have an opportunity to see the Joint Council fight for our pension. I'm really excited about it. And Donald Trump, you're a baby boomer. You take care of your generation that has made this country. Also, you take care of them veterans.
Amen, brother.
And I cannot let them take what we've all worked so hard for our entire lives. That would be the nail in the coffin for me if this doesn't come through. Because I've lost everything then. I've lost everything. So, but that's not going to happen because the Butch-Lewis Act is going to pass and pensions in this country are going to be respected and rewarded and people are going to get what they worked for and paid for. This is not a bailout. This is not a handout. We paid for this. We paid for this. And it was mishandled by everybody that touched it. And then you get a letter in the mail that says your pension's going to be cut by 50, 60%. And people have retired, they're sick, they can't work anymore. One man committed suicide over this. No one should have to die for a pension that they fought, that they paid for, and they worked for. And this country needs to understand this. But when they look at me, I want them to look at everybody that's in a union and how we are counting on these representatives to stand up and do the right thing. Because one thing they must remember, seniors vote. And we will remember those who fought for us, and we will remember those who did not.
Thank you for that. Thanks to the thousands of Teamsters and mine workers and iron workers and carpenters and confectionery workers and bakers and others who have come to Columbus both yesterday and today. They represent more than 1 million workers, Americans around the country who are at risk of losing their pension. That's why we're here. We all know that's why we're here. The first round, I will ask one question of the 6 of you. Try to keep it as close to 1 minute because there are 6 of you. We know there are 1.3 million workers and retirees potentially hurt by this crisis. We know there are thousands of small businesses, as many of you have said. We know it harms the economy. We know that allowing the system to collapse will put taxpayers at risk. So if you can each highlight as briefly as you can, tell us what it will cost to you or your business or your employees if Congress fails to act. And Mr. Martin, start with you as briefly as, I apologize for that, as briefly as you can.
I think, Senator Brown, it just continues this uncertainty, this black cloud that we've experienced for a long time now. If we don't find a solution, as an employer of 550 people, I cannot stand to wait. I have to figure out what I need to do to protect our company and our community from this catastrophic event that could be coming our way. Action is so badly needed by this committee. As you've heard all of our members testify here, it has tremendous impact. And you asked about cost. Our pension costs are our highest, fastest growing cost in our company, and there doesn't appear to be any end in sight. And it's making an impact now on decisions that we make as a company going forward. And that's something that 10, 15, 20 years ago didn't happen. It now becomes part of our discussion at the table.
Thank you. Ms. Dell, if we do nothing, what happens to you and your fellow men and women in the Teamsters?
A lot of us will go belly up. That's the bottom line. A lot of us, like I said before, live paycheck to paycheck. I thought I was invincible. I thought I would live forever and I could work forever. I thought that I'd never age. But here I am, and retirement is around the corner, and I'm not prepared.
Thank you, Ms. Dell. Mr. Gardner.
Senator, because of increasing pension contributions, our business is in jeopardy. Every day we try to figure out ways to cut costs rather than invest in our business and grow our business. And that's what we would like to do with the money that we are now spending, the increased costs for pensions. Here are three grim statistics about our company. Our unfunded pension liability is $281 million. In 2008, this liability was $93 million. So since that time, our unfunded pension liability has tripled. Number two, our pension cost last year was $13.8 million. In 2008, our pension cost was $8.1. In 9 years, our pension cost has increased $5.7 million. But today, we have 461 fewer employees. So if we had the same number of employees today that we had in 2008, last year, our pension costs would have been $8.1 million higher. As one legislative assistant said to me, "How are you still in business?" Why do we have 461 fewer employees? We used to have 51 thrift stores. We now have, or are going to have, 2. We used to have 18 production lines at our Navarre bakery. We now have 7. Our pension costs are too high. The third grim statistic is 3 years ago, our 2 loans with our banks were called. The reason that they gave us that our loans were called is your unfunded pension liability is too much of a liability and a risk for you and for us.
Thank you, Mr. Gardner. Mr. Ward, what's it mean to you and to your members?
Chairman Brown, I think it's well known, 80% of our retirees and or widows are from orphan companies. And failure on this part of this committee to act now, our pension fund will go insolvent. One turn down in the market will make that happen sooner. So if this committee fails to do what we hold you responsible to do, our retirees will be without a pension check as early as 2022 or before. All of you have heard, those pension amounts are not a great deal of money. So we're not talking about people that's got $3,000 or $4,000 that we're going to cut off of them. We're talking about people that's got 500 or less, which they use to pay their bills or buy medicine with. And on top of that, we constantly hear, well, we got to cut Social Security. Now, Social Security and that pension allows these people to live. Failure on your part to do something to fix it will not. But that's simple. They won't be able to buy medicine. They won't be able to pay their bills. Somewhere along the line, and I think all of you here recognize it, there's got to be a fix for everybody here talking. There's got to be a fix for each one of us. And I think you got the ability to do that. You've proven it in the past, and I think you can do it again.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Sloan, what's it mean to your fellow millwrights?
For us, you guys may not be familiar with what we do, but we go all across the United States. We're in every manufacturing plant that makes everything from electricity, the automotives, all the cars that you drive, even the beer that you drink. We're the people that keeps that up and running, and we work hard to do that. If nothing happens, these people that's worked their whole lives to give you the luxury to do what you enjoy will not have that same luxury themselves, myself included. In 2030, I want you to ask yourselves, in 2030, would you want to be able to retire on $1,600 a month? Is that something that you could think is even possible in 2030?
So, Mr. Walden.
If something isn't done, the dignity, in Central States alone, 1,000 people a month die. 1,000 people a month. And because of the stress created now, waiting to see what is going to be done, we have people in dire health. We have people that have passed because of stress, things of that nature. If something isn't done, we lose our dignity. Your neighborhoods go downhill. Our houses go up for foreclosure. Our lives are reduced. We can't enjoy what we retired to do, to spend our last years of our life with our kids and our grandchildren. We can't enjoy a comfortable life. To be able to purchase vehicles and things of that nature, homes, remodeling, to put back in the economy. And many of my friends here today, our lives would just be reduced to nothing. We can't, some of us would be, as it was pointed out by the committee, if something isn't done now, we'll get $100 a month. Why even give us $100 a month? That's ridiculous. Why even have a cap of $13,000 a year through the PBGC? Who can live on that? I know homeless people that I know are getting more than that, taking donations, getting donations, receiving care at homeless shelters, things of that nature. We can't live on that. We didn't do one thing wrong. We waited for we lost money on Wall Street, and in some cases the funds didn't have anything to do with that. They gave that money to investment firms. Those investment firms played with our money. Why aren't we getting some of that fine money back to help us out? But our lives, totally reduced. We would look so embarrassed in our neighborhoods that we have now, the upkeep of our neighborhoods to keep our communities safe, to keep our communities looking nice, like we all should. We should enjoy those. We should be fishing today. We shouldn't be sitting here talking about how dire straits we'll be in if something isn't done very, very soon. It's taking a toll.
Personal tolls.
A personal toll.
Healthcare tolls.
I have a passion to fight this. I care about the employers, the active workers, and retirees. I have a passion.
I know.
And I
just
can't
want to come
tell
hug
you-
all of you. I do know.
I can't tell you how many stories I've listened to and how many times I've sat down and cried because it's so overwhelming. Why are we going through this? Sometimes we look at the food chain, we always start at the top. Let's look at the bottom of the food chain.
That's why we're here today. This hearing is
Yes.
doing that.
I respect Mr. Martin to the utmost, but he makes 12 million dum-dums a day. Those dum-dums, if nobody is down there at the bottom to buy them and eat them, his business is out of business. And that money that fuels these employers to be able to hire active workers and keep it going, if we down here right now, and especially the middle class, don't buy those dum-dums or those loaves of bread that David Gardner and his company are making, Those employers and those active workers have nothing. And it's going to have a devastating effect, and that's part of the contagion effect. But the passion for this, the times I sit down, it just weep because of what's going on. Why did I fight for this country? Why did my fellow veterans fight for this country? Why do we have to go through this? You know, there's a lot of reasons, but let's settle it. Let's settle what is happening right now today for the people that earned it today. But I also agree we have to look into the future for the baby born today and for the active worker that just started jobs today. You have to come up with something. You have to help those people. 401ks, listen to the Ways and Means Committee of September 14. Pat T-Berry was the subcommittee chairman, and everybody on that committee agreed after that hearing that 401ks are not the answer. Concessions given to employers are not the answer. It only digs you a deeper hole. The PBGC is so discriminatory between the single employer plan and the multi-employer plan. Those things need fixed. But right now, we need the critical and declining plans fixed now. Not next year, not 10 years from now. You can work on something in the future. But don't put us through this stress. This is the last years of our lives. My grandkids, when I started this, some of them were just born. They're 5 and 6 years old now. I haven't seen them nowhere near the amount of time that I would like to spend with them and see them. And kids need their grandparents today. They need their grandparents to guide them in what used to be and how it used to be. We have to fix this. Thank you.
There's a mighty battle coming, and it's well now on its way. It'll be fought at Amugoddon, it shall be a sad, sad day. In the book of Revelations, words in chapter 16 say, there'll be gathered there great armies for that battle on that day. All the way from the gates of Eden to the battle of Amugoddon, there's been trouble and tribulation, there'll be sorrow and despair. He has said ye not be troubled, for these things shall come to pass. Then your life will be eternal when you dwell with him at last. There'll be nation and against nation, there'll be wars and rumors of wars. There'll be great signs in heaven, in the sun, the moon, the stars. Oh, the hearts of men shall fail them, there'll be gnashing of the teeth. Those who seek it will receive it, mercy at the Savior's feet. All the way from the gates of Eden to the battle of Amugoddon, there's been trouble and tribulations, there'll be sorrow and despair. He has said ye not be troubled, for these things shall come to pass. Then your life will be eternal when you dwell with him at last.